Hello, everybody. I want to thank you for coming to our webinar series, Sage 100 Cloud Introduction and Product Tour. I am your speaker today. My name is Sean Atkins. I have been the president and CEO of ACC Accounting Solutions. I've used the product myself, Sage 100, 100C, since 1992, so a substantial amount of time. Wanted to thank everybody for taking the time and getting a chance to see the operations that we have and see what some of the differences and what makes Sage 100 versus 100C unique product in the market. Again, ACC, we're a partner that we try to be able to be involved in your business in every step of the way. We start our approach really is to listen to you as a partner. We try to get a strong understanding of what kind of direction in the business processes you currently have. Our focus is really around trying to be that one individual that you come to when you're looking for opening up or branching into new business processes or you're concerned about how a process is working. We spend a lot of time on focusing on process consulting as well as training. Training is a significant portion. I'm sure you could see it on our website. We believe that having as much training as possible for your staff makes the implementations substantially easier. And then after any kind of implementation or training, we always come back with a support plan. And this way you feel free that you can talk to us, the people that know your system and the implementation of your system very well, and then we can answer your questions, and you find that you're quicker getting to the answers of your processes. Sage, we talk about Sage. Sage is a multinational company, and they're on the UK company, the FTSE, and they're a large organization. They have market shares in UK of 40%, France, as well as Spain. So a substantial amount of people use Sage. Sage rebranded itself here in the US. They've got $2 billion in annual revenue. They're in 24 countries. Today they have 24,500 plus Sage 100 companies using the product. So it's a huge number, and it's good to know that because Sage 100 is a product that's substantially around. There's been a lot of naming and understanding of what Sage 100 Cloud is. And I kind of have to bring it back a little bit to where Sage started from. See, originally, the product itself was called Mass 90. Mass 90 was introduced back in the mid-'80s. The product was known. It was a great product. It was given out to a lot of accounting firms, and a lot of accounting firms recommended the product. And it really grabbed a foothold here in the U.S. After a series of time, in about 1998, Sage came onto the scene, and accounting software companies were starting to get purchased. So a lot of products that were out there started to fall under different names. So Sage purchased Mass 90, they purchased ACPAC, they purchased Peachtree, names that we're familiar with. Sage, Mass 500, which was another product. So having that wealth of different applications underneath their name or their portfolio gave them the ability to try to get that starting company all the way up through the growth of that company up into an enterprise level, keeping them in the family. And as these products started to mature, they wanted to have a different naming structure for them so that people were more familiar with Sage here in the US. If we went out to the UK and we talked about Sage, over there, Sage is so known It's sort of like how we talk about Microsoft here in the US. So Sage wanted to use that branding capability. So they went around all their products and they identified them as, in this case, in 1998, Sage Mass 90 ERP. And then in 2012, they dropped the Mass 90 name, or the Mass 200 name, as some people refer to it, and they just called it Sage 100 ERP. And as time went by, they decided to introduce a new product, which really is just a branding name, which is Sage 100C. Sage 100C is the Sage 100 product, but it's under a subscription model versus an ownership model. The product, for the most part, is identical, except in the Sage 100C, Sage provided different tier levels that you could go into, a silver tier or a gold tier or a platinum tier. They gave you a new UI that you could identify, and we're going to go in and take a look at that UI. We're also going to be able to look at some of the things that they have. They've given out access to Inventory Advisor for companies that need to track inventory. So getting into the Gold plan, they gave you a beginner version of that to help make the value a value-based product at that. The reason for why you would want to move away from Sage 100, where you own the product, to a Sage 100C, where it's a subscription model. And last month, Sage announced that the C that we have here in the Sage 100, which was considered connectivity, is now going to be referred to as cloud functionality, or cloud, Sage 100 Cloud. So you're going to start seeing a rollout, if you've been paying attention to the Sage 100 product line recently, that we're going to start seeing Sage 100 Cloud going forward as the name of the product. The Sage 100 or Sage 100C or Cloud, however you want to refer to it, is a great application because it can manage multiple aspects of your organization. The finance side, obviously, but having an integrated CRM, for instance, that's an important component of it. Sage Payroll. Sage's payroll system is substantially stronger than most products on the market in terms of its capability of taxing in the different communities. So if an employee works in different townships or counties or even different states, it has the capability of doing the multi-tax level. So usually that tends to be a great product for people that are interested in it. Our sales and marketing capability with the CRM, again, another component to help run your organization. Now, when I think of the Sage 100 platform, you can kind of see that it has a mixed variety of applications. And based on where you are in the wheel of your organization, if you're a light manufacturing company or if you're a service-based company or a distribution company, you can see that they've added a series of different add-ons to the product, right? The core product gives us the capability of running the organization, and then its capabilities being in a center ring and pushing out to add-on solutions that we could have on the outside. If a company needed EDI, for instance, it has the capability of having a snap-in module for EDI, or Sage Fixed Assets, having the capability of integrating Sage 100 with fixed assets. You purchase a new product, you purchase a new desk for your company, and you could have that added to the fixed asset list. Sage Sales Tax, with the complexities of sales tax that are out there today, having the correct sales tax schedule is a great add-on. So having a capability of creating a sales order and then an invoice and then having the right tax charged has that capability. Inventory Advisor, an application that every night reaches into the Sage system to analyze what's been sold and purchased, to be able to help provide what levels you should have and to maintain, and to help reduce your inventory costs. Sage Inventory Advisor, another add-on to the product. HR and payroll, having the ability to have an HR system in today's society, be able to track employees or new hires or potential hires with resumes. Sage also has a strong payment processing center, having the ability to take credit cards that's CPI compliant. Sage provides that product in the Sage 100 app family. The great thing about Sage 100 Cloud, for instance, it is customer focused. I mean, when you look at it, having the ability to put their features that are customer requested into the next product, Sage really is looking at what the customers have been asking for. The last series of upgrades have been around customer features, customer requested features. Sage tries to be your partner in this product, right? They're building that strong relationship with you. So it is partner based. And a lot of people are like, well, do I need to be at a Sage 100 or should I be at a Sage 300 or an X3? And this is really kind of a way to think about it. You know, if your accounting system right now and you realize it's kind of an online basic accounting system, and you find that, you know, reporting isn't correct or you're having lots of problems putting things back and forth, business processes aren't automated. There's some great ways to be able to have an understanding if Sage 100 is right for you. And best of all, it's its affordable price. This is a feature-rich product that's definitely value-based. Let's go ahead and take a look right now. Let's pop into what Sage 100 would look like for your organization. Go ahead and minimize this. So on Sage 100, when you log into the main screen, just by launching the icon on your desktop, you get to a regular screen that will ask you for your username and password. So I'll go ahead and put in my name and my password. As a user, when I log in, I have the ability to, you know, prompt for company codes and change specific settings. And these settings are just specific to me. How I like to see my reports in terms of view size, as well as the different kinds of desktops. In this case, classic desktop was recently replaced with this new UI that people are seeing in the Sage 100C platform. I'm going to go ahead and show you what that platform is. And then you also have the ability to create or change different kinds of themes. So let's go ahead and take a look, and we're just going to log into the screen. When Sage 100 opens up, you notice that I've got this gray color screen with this blue background. This is typical from what the 100 looks to the 100C. In the 100C environment, I have the capability of controlling how large I want to be able to see the screen sizes. So I could move to a large or I can move to an extra large font so that the screens all follow along. I'm using a medium font today, but it is great to know that for people that are optically challenged like myself, you could actually read the screens where historically at the Sage 100 level, they tend to be very small. In this case, I'm just going to open up the customer maintenance screen so that you can get an idea of what a medium-sized screen is. Here you can see that we've got the customer information, and it's all fairly legible and follows the whole pattern of my theme here. So besides changing the schedule, the actual size or the scaling of the components, you could also change the different flavors. So if you wanted more of a blue color or typical green color, so a white with green and black on it, I tend to find for my eyes, the dark color with the white background seems to be substantially better. For those people that are familiar with the product, one of the things that you can do is that you could sort the applications by the module listings. This is a new feature within the application. So when new employees come on board, You could actually um, have them see it in an alphabetical order versus trying to understand the historical formatting that it used to be. So again, these features are common within the product, and this is the Sage 100C platform that it's providing. When we look at the application gives us the ability to set up users in different companies. We could be a multi-company organization, so there's no limitation to the companies that you can create and have in. So in this case, I've got 6 records. And then within each company, I can have which versions or modules that I want. So for one company, I can have the full manufacturing distribution suite, where another company might just only have core accounting. So not all the modules need to be there. The user level or the role level can determine what a user can see. In this case, I'm set up as the admin user. So I have the ability to see all activities and actions from within an application. Inside the accounts payable, for instance, I'm able to get into, say, the maintenance screens, and I can go into invoice data entry, and I have the ability to create, modify, remove, review. We can create other roles for users where maybe they have the ability to create and modify, but maybe they don't have the ability to remove, or maybe they just have create and view. So we have a lot of controls over what people can do within the screens and what they can access within the menus. If somebody doesn't have access to a particular module, the module no longer resides in the menu. So this is also a new feature within the Sage 100C family, is that we could limit what people can see so that they don't have to navigate through a series of different tasks. One great component of this, which is kind of that you would find in any kind of web page, is something called your favorites. Favorites are a menu item. So in this case, instead of looking at modules, maybe I'm going to look at my favorites. And for me, these are my favorites. I've got bank rec, I've got journal entries, recurring journal entries. I can look at sales orders, customer maintenance screens, and sales order entry screens, or even my own task screen. So I can create my own tasks. But within customer maintenance, this launches the task. This is the customer maintenance task. And to put things into your favorite is as simple as just right-clicking on a field and just saying add to favorites. You can drag and drop and put things in the sequence that you want. And this could be specifically for you, or it could be company-wide. So it could be company-wide tasks or just your favorites. Back over to the module screen, when we look at the modules, Library Master is the brains of the operation. But besides the Library Master, what we have is we have the core accounting modules. So general ledger, accounts receivable, accounts payable, and bank rec. If your company needs to have distribution capabilities, we'll have the sales order, inventory, and the purchase order modules available, as well as return merchandise authorizations or for RMAs. If you're in the manufacturing and you need the manufacturing suite, again, you can buy into which packages make sense for you. Here you can buy bill of materials or work order. If you need MRP, I've had some companies that are core accounting and needed purchase order for tracking purposes. So there are some a la carte kind of components that you can buy, as well as there's a fully integrated CRM application. So we can get into the CRM and look at customers and track lead to opportunity to sale. So we have that full capability. Sage also has its own independent report writer or financial report writing tool. So it's an add-on that sits on top of Excel, but it has the capability that has the ODBC link into the database, and you could run reports. You set up the formats, and then month in, month out, you could run your financial packets using the Sage Intelligence reporting application. Sage has tried to add some additional features to help end users, especially new users to the system, to be able to experience things like quick data entry screens. In this case, this is something called a visual process flow. And these visual process flows can be customized, meaning they can be specific to a user or a company or to a business process. This happens to be the sales order entry template. This is just an example of one that you can create that comes out of the box. This lists sales orders. I can click on this green, either the word order or the box, and it will actually launch the task to enter sales orders. So for someone who doesn't actually need to follow these screens and have all of the different tasks, and they just want to follow one screen, they could use the web screen to be able to go and enter pieces in. So they could follow along and enter orders. They can go to a secondary screen, which is a pack and ship. So if somebody's in the packing and ship department, so you could branch it off to other pieces. You can go to even customer screen. So in this case, here's inquiries, reports, or even print jobs. So this gives the ability for people to move from a lower level accounting system that has this familiar to them into the Sage product line. So it doesn't give them that a very stark change between the way that they're used to using the product to this new process. So within the panels, we have other pieces, something like Paperless Office. Now, Paperless Office is the ability for us to be able to track different journals and things that are being printed. So in this case, I turn that on and I can process a quick transaction so we can see what it looks like. I can put on forms. I can track reports, journals, even period end reports. If I was going to set pieces up and I wanted to maybe electronically deliver invoices to our customers, have the capability where I can set up a delivery message. So anytime that we're going to do a customer form for the ABC company for a specific module, let's say sales order, I can go in and I can say, yes, when we send out invoices, I can put in a different kind of standardized message, and I can integrate different names and fields. So company name attached to this email is your invoice. So when we go ahead and we create invoices, based on our settings for that particular customer, if that customer is paperless, that email can be printed off to that customer into a PDF, sent off to them into an email, and they can receive it electronically. If that customer doesn't want to have emailed to them, and they want them printed, we have that same capability to go through that process. So in this case, here's a quick example of going in. I can have an invoice in the system, take a sales order that we have, look at the customer record, verify that they have paperless assigned to someone in their office. After the invoice has been processed, lines, I'm going to ship complete what we're going to send them. This is what our total is. If they'd like to pay by credit card, we have full credit card capability. So we can record a credit card process. Sage 100 is the application that, again, it's CPI compliant. Sage made an enormous investment by building a vault up in the cloud that Sage acts as a token process. The only information that would reside on your Sage 100 system would be the remaining 4 digits of the card holder, as well as their expiration date, and the token that points to the information up in Sage's vault. When processing credit cards, at the time of processing the credit card, when you submit the card would then read up into the cloud, grab the information to allow for the processing to occur. That investment has really made Sage a very strong player in taking credit cards. Inside the Sage invoicing process, if I go to invoice at this point, I'll just grab a plain form. Back 1 second. We have things on, everything's good. We're going to go ahead and just quickly process one so you can see what the paperless process looks like. Take a half a second. I'm going to do all modules. We'll put all documents, and we are going to install that right onto my desktop. It's not going to be password protected, and we're just going to accept this process. Inform maintenance, again, I should have the ABC company, all modules, all documents, electronic delivery, accounting at foracc.com. And the directory, again, I'm just going to put this right up onto my desktop. So we'll go back into our sales order, and we're going to go print our sales order. You notice that we get this new drop-down box, and this is our Paperless Office options. So if a customer is scheduled or set up for electronic delivery, we can go ahead and we could either print all, electronic delivery all, or we could do a combination, print PDF or electronic delivery, or print PDF and electronic delivery. So having these different options gives our customers the best way that they want to receive invoices. So if they want to receive them electronically, they can get them that way. If they want to have them historically and just mailed out, snail mail, we can go ahead and provide that to them as well. And again, it's at a customer level. So each customer, in this case, the invoice that we have on file for this particular customer, for an ABF company, again, is going to be coming through the paperless. They want to receive their invoices via email, and they may have different contacts in their organization. So maybe Artie and John both get a copy of this email. It's not specific to one person, so it can be more than one person. And we could even have the salesperson involved so that the salesperson can get a copy of that email as well, so they know that the invoice has been done, or maybe they could follow up. Typically, we like to see this on collections, on statements. So we like the salespeople to get maybe a copy of the statement so they could then make the friendly call to check in on them and see what's going on if there was an issue for that order. So here's giving you the opportunity to be able to look at the face of what Sage can bring to you. It's a very easy, intuitive screen. In this case, this is a sales order. I have header, address tabs, line tabs. I've got primary tables. We can drag and drop, drill in, drill up between the different screens. And the system really allows you to have the ability to have things the way that you work. And that's the key here. It's not about the way Sean works or about this person in your organization. It's about the individual. And this screen will stay like this for the individual that's logged on. Since I'm Sean, next time I close out of this and open this up, again, it'll be back in the same setup in the screen. So having access to looking at the product, you can see that Sage has put a lot of time and energy in trying to make it user-friendly. Looking at the different functionalities with it, we know that we could do core accounting. We can do distribution, so we can go into the inventory module, and we can maintain a high degree of what our inventory is based on different warehouses, based on our pricing structures that we have, based on setting up aliases or alternate items for an item that's being sold, having the ability to do reorders for our clients. So if we have new product and we need to set up reorder points, we can do that. Setting up pricing for a particular customer. Customer calls up, I could look at the customer and try to figure out what their pricing would be based on an item. So here on this Han 2-drawer letter file opener file without lock, I can say, okay, well, in this case, our standard price is $84, sale price within a range, and if they buy 1 to 4, it's 84. They want to buy 6 of them, the salesperson would be able to identify that it's 81, 48, or $488. So even taking calls over the phone can help your CSRs be able to handle this with regards to the inventory system. The inventory system, again, has the capability that we can look at transactions, we could look at history, we could look at orders, we can see what's on purchase order, and we can see what's on sales order. So having the bundled option, again, gives you the capability that even if at a low level you get core and you want to grow into distribution, that's available. If we need to be able to link into Amazon or any of the marketplaces out there, we have that capability where the information can then be gathered and pulled in, and we can have integration as well at that point. We can buy individual users, so each additional user can be added to the system. And there is a tremendous amount of ISVs, independent vendors, software vendors, that create or write applications geared towards integrating 100 to other applications. Looking at the different pieces of the modules, a lot of people, when they first do their business processes, they realize they've got customer maintenance, they've got typical things like invoice data entry, but they really don't realize the breadth of reporting that they get from an application. In this case, I'm going to take one report and just show you a few things that you can do that are pretty unique. In this case, this is a standard report, an accounts receivable aged invoice report. The report is our default report. It's by customer number. I could have it by customer name. And this is just sorting the report, how it gets sorted by. Maybe it's by salesperson. I could change certain setup options, and I'm just being as a standard user. I can turn around and then save the setups that I've chosen. So if I've chosen different dates or even different values within here, I'm looking at by salespeople and maybe for a different division. So maybe the 01 division to only. I could hit Save As, and I can store this as a different report. So this report doesn't have to be the standard report. This could be Division 1. Division 1 by salesperson. I can make this my default report, and it could also be public if I wanted to make it public, or I could just make it private. So now inside my system, I've got variations to the settings that we have in here, but I could take it a step further. This is the report that I'm looking at. I can actually go in and I can modify this report using Crystal Reports Designer Again, the designer would have to be on that desktop for that individual, but I'm sure your IT staff can help you with this. And then within this report, and I'll just kind of expand this a little bit for you, I can make unique changes around the report. So in this case, this aged invoice report is showing me my customer, my invoice date, invoice number, and so forth. I could add additional fields to the report. I could connect a secondary database to the report. I can drag different types. So in this case, this is a customer type. And I can put my customer type right up here. So if a customer type was important to me, I could save that to my report. I could run the report, and then customer type in that particular example may show up on the report. So I guess by salespeople, I don't have salespeople in that range. Oh, date on this. 0501. So in this case, the customer type for him was A2. So very easily, we can go in and make changes to the standard reports and still have the original report available to us. And then again, you don't see that field there. So having the ability to do core accounting and going through any of the reports, and in this case, you probably see there's about 20 separate reports in there. It really gives you the ability that you could hone this package in so that it actually meets what your requirements are. So as your business partner, we try to sit down and we pull out all the reporting that you have and analyze it so that we could help adapt the reports to what you're currently using. And that's really the approach. Again, we're really trying to get into that consultative relationship where we can help you get the best or the most out of that application. Sage really is trying to give you a great application, have it at your fingertips, and then from within your fingertips, making sure that you can get the most out of the report. Not have one of those applications that are sitting in your company that you're only using 30 or 40% or 50% from. Really taking advantage of the application. Let's go ahead and set this up. I'm just going to give you a quick example of even what the dashboard is going to look like. So in this case, even having the ability of having a dashboard with the capability of having drill down and drill up into the reports, running across different columns, having kind of visibility around each of the different screens, cash requirements, what's in the buckets. I aged my report as of February 27th, 2018. We really have data that's out in 2020. Let me see if I can change the date. It's not letting me do that. Yep. Oh, it's being funny. So having this ability and going through and using the system, again, is just one more reason why the application is getting stronger and is a great fit for companies that are on a limited budget to still have a full-featured, rich application. I'd like to thank everybody that's taken a look at the demo portion of this. I'd like to open it up for Q&A, and I'm going to take a look and see if anybody's had an opportunity to write anything in the screens. Currently, I'm looking for questions at the moment. Can you clarify, is Sage 100 Cloud a cloud application? What's the difference between Sage 100C and Sage 100 Cloud? Okay, yeah. There absolutely is no major difference between, there's absolutely no difference between Sage 100C and Sage 100 Cloud. Again, it's just a branding message. Sage wants everybody to understand that the application with its connected services is leveraging those connected services to make this foundation cloud related. But it is not a cloud multi-tenant, something that would sit up in a SaaS environment on a server. It could sit in a hosted server or private cloud, and you can put your application up there, but is not native cloud application. It's more of a stepping stone, giving your company the ability to leverage software today and make that move maybe to cloud down the road when you're ready for that investment. Thank you for the question. I'm looking. And I don't see any other questions. All right, well, I'll give it a minute, two more, but I really do appreciate everybody spending the time and taking a look at it. I am available at my contact information. If you'd like to reach me, you can reach me at this information. Thank you again, everyone. I appreciate the time today.